Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about just a homeschool update. I've been meaning to do this for a while now because our homeschool journey has taken quite a few different turns this past year. So I wanted to give you guys an update, and my goal and my plan for this next year is to be doing a lot more homeschooling videos and homesteading videos, which I know I haven't done like any of those here recently. So if that is something that you're interested in, please be sure to leave me a comment in the description box below. So for those who are new to my channel, this past year I was homeschooling one child, a first grader, and we do a Waldorf-based educational homeschool curriculum. So we started off doing earth schooling, and let me actually backtrack a little bit before that. I started using the Waldorf method last year at the end of her kindergarten year. So with that kind of came a little bit of unschooling, because some of the traditional methods that I had already taught her with a lot of different alphabets and numbers and stuff like that really don't do well with the Waldorf education. I really liked the philosophy behind the Waldorf education of letting kids be kids for a little bit longer, and there's a whole lot to it if you start to research it about the life cycles and when children develop and how they develop. And anyway, I would just really gravitate toward that. I really liked all the handwork. I really liked all the singing. I really liked all the kids' activities. I really liked all the nature that was involved in a Waldorf education. So at the end of kindergarten last year, I gravitated towards that, and we went with an earth schooling curriculum. I will also have links right here for the reviews that I did of the preschool, the kindergarten, and the first grade curriculum for earth schooling. If you're interested in more in learning more about those curriculums, those are all digital. They are very affordable as far as curriculum goes. So you download them, or if you have a tablet and you just like to use them off the tablet, you can do that as well. I downloaded them, printed them, and had them bound at my local copy binding place. So when I started researching about Waldorf education and Waldorf schools, most Waldorf schools keep children in kindergarten for actually 2 years. They don't start formal education until the child is closer to 7 years old. Because this is my first time homeschooling, because this is my first child, because this is the first time that I am gravitating towards the Waldorf philosophy, I was hesitant about keeping her in kindergarten for 2 full years. So her birthday is in February, about halfway through the year. So what I decided to do is that we were going to do the Waldorf philosophy for kindergarten for half of the year, and then we were going to double time it with the first grade for the remainder of the year. So that's what we did, and we loved it. For the fall of last year, we did all of the kindergarten curriculum that I bought from earthschooling.com, and it really lined up very nicely with the preschool curriculum that I also bought for my second child. So they were both doing very similar things. The kindergarten just had a little bit more things to do. So around December of last year, she started losing teeth, and there's a few other physical indicators that the educational style suggests that they are ready to start moving into formal academics. And so when that happened, I went ahead and bought the first grade curriculum. However, I'll be completely honest, it just kind of threw me for a loop, mostly because we were starting the first grade curriculum mid-year. And I was planning on double timing the first grade curriculum, which actually goes completely against the Waldorf philosophy about taking childhood slow. After reviewing the curriculum, and you will see in the first grade curriculum video, this curriculum is intense. It is a lot of information, and quite frankly, it was somewhat overwhelming to me, and especially because I was starting mid-year. A lot of the rhymes, a lot of the homework, a lot of the social studies and everything just really lined up with starting in August. So there was a way that you could make it line up to start whenever, but it was just overwhelming to me, basically. And we tried it for a few months, and then I just found myself doing less and less schoolwork. Around springtime is always a difficult time for us anyway, because we're doing projects around the house, we're getting ready to plant, we're doing a lot of just homework. Not homework, but like house and homework. So schoolwork really went to the back burner in the springtime, and I was okay with that. That's one of the joys of homeschooling, is that sometimes you just kind of have to make it work with your family, and I was totally okay with that. However, come April time, most of my fellow homeschooler friends are telling me that they're done. They did their tests, they did their evaluations, and they're done for the year, and I was just like, oh. I feel like we've hardly started on first grade. So that kind of threw me into a panic. I'd been watching a lot of YouTube videos about Oak Meadow, and Oak Meadow was one of my secondary choices to the homeschooling curriculum. It is already bound. It's a real copy format. So I hopped on eBay and I hopped on Facebook, and I was able to go ahead and get the first grade curriculum used at a very good price. So when that came in the mail, we started using that back in May. And again, we're double timing it at this point, because a lot of it we had already reviewed over. The first part of it was just, the alphabet, writing it out, doing a lot of storytelling. Some of the stories I'd already told her about. It's from Grimm's Fairy Tales. So we did that, and we did 2 weeks for every week. That was my plan. And before long, we actually developed a pretty good rhythm. And that was something that I had really lacked in this whole transition. The beginning of the year, we had a great rhythm with doing kindergarten and preschool. But then when we tried to transition into first grade, our rhythm just went. And we were able to get back into a really good rhythm, and we have been in a really good rhythm ever since. So I really like the Oak Meadow curriculum. The end of the school year for most people. I also found some used curriculum online for kindergarten and for second grade. So all at once, I went ahead and bought kindergarten, first and second grade, all used, all online. And thus far, we are really enjoying it. So I will be bringing you reviews of all three of those, starting with the first grade curriculum, because we are over halfway through it. We have been double timing it, but I haven't been doing everything in the curriculum, obviously, because that's just too much, and that defeats the whole purpose of doing a Waldorf slow childhood, is if you're just rushing through all this stuff. So I'm trying not to rush through all this stuff, and I'm just really picking and choosing. We were mostly doing language arts and math. So that's kind of a recap of how I failed miserably this past year. So my plan is to get as far as we can, and then probably take 1 or 2 weeks off at the end of August or the beginning of September, take a little breather off of there, and that is when we will actually celebrate my middle child graduating from pre-K and my oldest graduating from first grade. We'll take a few weeks off there to just and then we will get right back into it, getting started with kindergarten and second grade. So throughout this whole year, I realized that for a working mom in my family dynamic, I really wanted something that I could check the block with. I wanted to make sure that she was learning stuff, but I also needed, I'm a huge list person, is that I feel so good when all right, it's done, moving on. So much of it is feelings, and so much of it is story time, and so much of it is just living life, and it's hard to check the block on that, okay? Have we lived life today? That is one thing that I'm really liking about the Oak Meadow curriculum. They actually do have checklists. When I say double timing it, I mean that we are doing school 5 to 6 days a week. My plan for next year is to only be doing schoolwork 4 days a week and to take a lot of breaks. I do like doing year-round school. My preference is that in the summertime I would be getting ahead of the school year rather than trying to play catch-up for the last school year. So for as far as next year goes, that we will still be doing summer school, but hopefully we'll be starting on first grade and third grade next summer rather than trying to play catch up to this past year. Mostly because I'm not a huge fan of summer. It's ridiculously hot and sweaty, and we do a lot of things outside, but when it gets to be too hot, I would rather stay inside in the air conditioner and do schoolwork. It also makes it a lot easier throughout the rest of the school year that if we need to take a few days off here or a week there, or if someone gets sick, I'm not stressing over, we've got 36 weeks, 180 days, we've got to do this. So it makes it for a much more relaxed pace that we can just homeschool for the entire year. Plus, especially in the elementary school ages, there are so many fun activities to do actually during the holidays that would count towards their schoolwork. Like right now, my daughter will be making homemade Christmas gifts, both of them. What worked thus far, having a schedule, having a list is what worked. What didn't work is trying to put 2 years into one. Summer we've gotten to go to the Children's Museum quite a bit. We've gotten to explore some of our local areas. My second daughter just learned how to ride a bike without training wheels. We are working on watching a caterpillar go through the process of metamorphosis. We also held a lemonade stand to benefit kids with cancer, and that was a lot of fun for them to get out there and do some volunteer work as well. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you want to see more homeschooling videos. I'm really excited about this next year. I'm pumped to have 2 kids doing homeschool, and I have a lot of big plans. I'm trying to pace myself that, you know, a lot of them might not happen. That's part of the joy of homeschooling, is that you take what works and you leave what doesn't. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!